A big thank you goes out to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Last week's video when I was photographing in the garden there, it really inspired me to get into flower photography mode. To be honest with you, I haven't done an awful lot of flower photography since my days working with the magazine. I just kind of stopped doing it. I've been concentrating more these past few years on waterfalls and trees. And last week's video kind of really inspired me to get out and start taking more close-ups. So this week I've come to an area that's it's about an hour and a half drive from where I live, South Vancouver Island. It's to an area that I've been to several times before over the years. Now the last time I was here was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And I remember sitting in this very spot and there was a huge black bear walking down the logging road in front of me here, which was a little bit unnerving. So I hope I don't meet any black bears on this trip. This specific area is known for its wildflowers, and it has an amazing collection of spring wildflowers. Now, I have to be honest with you, just from my quick walk through into this area, it doesn't look like there is as much or as many wildflowers this year as past years. I'm not sure if I'm perhaps too early or it's just not a good year for wildflowers. I'm not sure what's going on here, but in past years, these whole areas here have just been covered in erythronium, which is the pink thorn lily, which is quite unusual for the island, but in certain areas it grows in abundance. And there's also yellow violets, there's lots of those, false hellebore, and also western trillium. There's quite a few trillium around. But the pink thorn lilies, usually there's just a carpet of them, but they're kind of slim pickings this year. So the photography might be a bit of a challenge. Luckily I did that video last week, which was a real challenge in the garden, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. My approach for the wildflowers is going to be very similar to last week's video. I'll be taking close-ups, try to get those blurry backgrounds, portraits, because in years past I have photographed this area, wider scenes, and it's very difficult because there's just so much deadfall in this area. The trees, they're okay, they're really nice and mossy, but it's all second growth again, so not terribly inspiring when it comes to the trees. It's just the wildflowers that I'm after. So I'm going to look for two things. I want to get some pink thorn lilies with perhaps some nice blurry pink lilies in the background, and also some trillium. And the violets, I'm not sure if I'll be able to photograph those because I don't have a lens that focuses close enough for those guys. I don't have any extension tubes or screw-on diopters for the front of my lens, so I might have trouble photographing those. They're just so small. Okay, I think I may have found the composition. I have to admit though, this is really challenging, not only because the flowers are so low and I have to get so low, but also, you know, trying to stay on the trail so I'm not damaging any of these flowers is a challenge as well. So all of the compositions that I'm looking for are right off the side of the trail. And of course, you know, you're walking along the trail and you'll see something over there, but then you can't go over there because you'll be trampling over on the flowers that you're trying to photograph, and also trying to appreciate. Now I have set up my tripod on the side of the trail here. I've put it here really carefully so I'm not damaging anything. And again, what I'm trying to do is photograph through 2 or 3 flowers in the foreground to create that nice kind of pink blurriness, so that it fills the frame with a little bit more than just a flower, if that makes sense. It's very tricky though. Even if I did want to find just more standard type compositions where we just have maybe a small group of flowers without any kind of blurry fuzziness in the foreground or the background, there aren't that many that are close together. It's very challenging. And also something else that I noticed, and I never realized this, it's quite cool and overcast this morning. Well, a lot of the flowers have kind of closed up a little bit, so they're even harder to photograph because you can't see the stamens, which is what I really like to photograph. So I'm more or less photographing most of these specimens either straight across or slightly up a little bit. And that's why it's so hard to get so low to the ground. It's fun, I really enjoy it. Right, I'll get back to this photograph and I'm going to see if I can find 1 or 2 more, and then I think I'm going to call it quits for the day. If you're in the market for an all-in-one website, you should really check out what Squarespace has to offer. Squarespace has dozens of elegant templates to choose from that are not only stunning to look at, but also include a plethora of customizable options that are easy to apply and intuitive to use. Interested? Be sure to head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and if you like what you find, use the code AdamGibbs for 10% off your first purchase. That's right. If you're looking for a stunning website, go to squarespace.com, and if you use the code AdamGibbs, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. I think I'm on a roll. Found another comp. Oh, this is really hard going. I've pretty much given up on the tripod. I just can't get low enough. So what I'm doing is just putting my camera right onto the ground and propping it up with sticks and rocks and whatever I can find lying around, and that seems to work pretty good. It's not terribly stable though. A number of people in my last video mentioned these low-lying, I guess it's like a plate with a tripod head on them, and they work excellent, great for low angle stuff. The problem with this gear is that you have to carry it. and I had one. It was called a Platypod or something by Kirk Enterprises. It was a great piece of kit, but I never used it because I had to carry it. And that's the problem with a lot of the gear that comes out these days, is that yes, it's extremely handy to have, but it's only handy if you're working out of your car. Now today it would have come in handy because the car is not that far from here, but if I'm hiking somewhere, I already have way too much stuff as it is, and I don't want to start carrying more stuff. So this is a kind of a compromise. It seems to work fine. I found a really great pink fawn lily. It's kind of facing the camera a little bit, and you can see the stamens, so it's working out really well. And then I have some violets, yellow violets, and another pink fawn lily kind of blurry in the background, just to kind of get rid of some of that clutter that's at the base of the erythronium. But I think I've taken all in total 4 images, and yeah, it's slow going. Once again, thank you for watching this week's video. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content of my channel. Until next week, bye bye.